Hello, hello, happy Sunday. Good morning, beautiful people. It is so good to be with each and every one of you. As you can see, we are already in joy. We are already in laughter, and we pray that this meets you right where you are and you feel this joy and laughter that we're sending to you through the screen. Let us begin, as we always do, with prayer. And so I invite you here and now to just take a breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And let us affirm, I am here now.
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 Here now I remember that there is one mind, one power, one presence that is working in all, through all, and as all. There is one life, and that life is our life now. It is the life of love. It is the life of good. It is the life of joy. It is the life of freedom. It is the life of ease. It is the life of peace. It is the life of greatness. It is the life of harmony. It is the life of unity. It is the life of God operating in, through, and as us. And it is right here, right now. Because God neither comes nor goes. God, the all that is, the divine, the universe, and universal intelligence, use whatever word feels good to you in the moment. The Spirit is always available. It is omnipresence. It is everywhere at all times and constantly encountered. And so in this moment, we recognize that the presence is, and it is right here, right now. But as we begin this prayer, we affirm that we are also here now, because we are one with God and one of God. We are God's good idea. And this union, this harmony, this oneness that we have with the all that is, with the divine, with God itself is complete. It is finished. It is done. It cannot be severed. It cannot be harmed. It cannot be diminished. It cannot be taken away. It is the truth of our life. And we recognize and harmonize our hearts and minds with that reality right now. From this place of awareness, from this knowingness of our oneness with the divine, I now speak this word in faith. I now speak this word in confidence. I now speak this word in expectation. The weekend service, this gathering that we call the weekend service, is a time for us to dig in deeper to the reality of who and whose we are. It is an opportunity for us to connect as a community to the reality that we are significant, that we are worthy, that we are magnificent because of the divine flow that is operating in, through, and as us. It is an opportunity to remember that there are great creative laws of mind operating and responding to us at all times. It is an opportunity to forgive ourselves and set ourselves free for that which we did not know, or that which we misapplied, or that which we were misinformed of. It is an opportunity to remember that we are worthy, declare it, and affirm it. It is an opportunity to remember that we are prosperous and thriving now, and lean into it. It is an opportunity to live in the decisions that we have made, to be free and to live freely, and to remind each and every person that comes within the sphere of our influence that they too are free, that they too have power, that they too are worthy, that they too are powerful, that they too are beautiful by divine right. I am so grateful and thankful to have a spiritual home and community that reminds me of these things and so much more. I am so grateful and thankful to have a spiritual community and a spiritual home that supports me. I am so grateful and thankful to have a spiritual home and community of like-minded souls that understand this God that we speak of, that embraces this concept and this knowingness of God that we speak of, and is choosing, daring, and endeavoring to live a life from that knowingness. So we go forward in faith. So we go forward in confidence. So we go forward in expectation. So we go forward with great excitement, knowing that this word that I have spoken is already being responded to at every level of life, across every dimension of life, right here and right now. We let it be, and we celebrate, and we celebrate, and we celebrate. From this place of awareness, from this place of celebration, I release this prayer, and together we say, amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it must be. Yes, yes. Well, hello, y'all. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It is so good to be here with each and every one of you as we gather together to celebrate the magnificence and significance of God operating in, through, and as each and every one of us. It is the reality of life. And we are grateful to be a place and space where we get to live that out and practice that reality and learn more about what that means, and then embrace it and live victoriously throughout the week and in our lives. As we are grateful to be here with each and every one of you, we know that there may be just a few of you who are here for the very first time, and we especially want to say hello and welcome to you. Thank you for choosing to join us. We know there are so many different ministries and communities that you could be a part of on this Sunday morning, and we are grateful that something urged you, something brought you here to celebrate with us here at Celebration Spiritual Center. And so, on behalf of myself and Pastor Yolanda and the CSC community, we extend great love to you and a wonderful hello and welcome to you. Now, as you see here on the screen, if you are a first-time guest, we would love to stay in touch with you. And the information here on the screen is how you access your digital connection card. Just text the word welcome to 347-472-1078, and you'll receive a link as a response. That link is the link to the digital connection card. Click that link, enter the information, and submit it. Once you've successfully submitted your information, you'll receive a follow-up text that says and confirms that you're all set. And indeed, at that point you are. You will be on our mailing list. You'll receive our weekly email that goes out on Fridays, and any other messages or correspondence that we send periodically to keep you informed of what's going on in CSC, to keep you reminded of what's going on at CSC. We're going to get into our announcements in a few, and you'll see that there are some things that we share in the announcements that will also be in your inbox that you may want to have as a quick reference. So again, happy to have you here. We believe that you will receive something that will support you in living an empowered life, having an empowered week, and thriving throughout this week. So let's get into the announcements so then we can get into the meditation and continue with our masterclass, studying The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker. We are a church that is founded and rooted and grounded in prayer and affirmative prayer. We believe in the power of prayer because it simply works. And so we gather together every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Momentum Prayer Call. It is a wonderful way to start the momentum of your day with an affirmative word, an affirmative knowing, and an affirmative prayer. It's a wonderful way to jumpstart your week if you feel like you're just missing something. And it's a wonderful way to continue the momentum that we create on Sunday and to continue to live in that vibration. And so you see the information here on your screen. Again, if you're on our mailing list, you also have this in your inbox. The phone number is here. The access code is here. Dial in before 7 a.m. And wait. We share a reading that day, and then we pray, and we move on with our day. You also see there's a playback number because we actually record the prayer every Wednesday. So the most recent prayer is always available via that playback number. For those who are on our mailing list, you will also receive in the Friday weekly email, there's a link, under the prayer support section of that weekly email. There's a link that will give you access to listen to that prayer online. If you have a prayer request, we encourage you to send that email to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. That is received by our prayer champions as well as Pastor Yolanda and myself. We will hold the high watch with you. We will know the truth with you. We will stand in that absolute knowing, as we say, we pray from the realm of the answer. And that is the truth of how true prayer must work. And so we will live and stand with you in that space, whether it's for you or on behalf of a loved one or a friend, whomever it may be. We encourage you to send that email and allow the opportunity for prayer to do something powerful in, through, and as your life. We also encourage you to see yourself releasing and casting the burden as you're sending in that prayer request. You're not casting it on our shoulders, but you're casting it on the mind of God. And what that does is it frees you up. It frees you up to receive an inspired idea. It frees you up to receive a God idea. It frees you up to ask new questions, to ask love-based questions, as Pastor Yolanda would say. And so this is the beauty of releasing, because yes, there are things in our lives that are more than we can bear. You are not designed to bear them. That's why you have community. That's why you have opportunities to receive support, but more importantly, to ask for support so that you can receive it. We are still letting you know about our summer designs that are in our shop. You see the URL. You can just go to our website and go to the shop, or you can type in this URL that you see here. We created some summer designs from our Amen, Ashe, and So It Is t-shirts. These will only be available through the end of August. So if you're interested in these designs, you got to get them this month, and hopefully they'll be available next summer. But they will not be available again after August. Next Sunday is the third Sunday, which means it is God Talk Sunday. I am always excited about the God Talk because it is a wonderful opportunity to dig in deeper and really ask the questions that sometimes many of us were afraid to ask. What Pastor Yolanda and I knew very clearly as we were visioning CSC and receiving the vision and allowing that vision to come to and through us, it was clear that a forum needed to be created for people to be able to ask questions so that you can apply new thought, metaphysical principles to the real experiences of your life. And that's what the God Talk is all about. No question is off limits. We welcome every question. Over these almost 10 years now, we've heard every question possible. And we look forward to many of you joining us. Because we are virtual, that means that the God Talk happens via Zoom. And so if you're on our mailing list, then you already have the link and password to access the God Talk next Sunday. But you have to be on our mailing list in order to get that information. For our first-time guests, as you're hearing this and you're like, oh, I didn't want more emails, but now I realize I want this email. You will see the link and information again to connect to our digital connection cards so that you can join our mailing list. We look forward to many of you joining us next Sunday at 1 p.m. following service for the God Talk. It is always rich. It is always powerful. Mm-hmm. We always, each of us, I think, leave better than when we walked in. We leave enlightened. We leave empowered and just a little bit clearer on how to apply these principles to our lives. Finally, CSC will be closed for our end of summer rest and rejuvenation. As you all know, PY and I will be taking our annual, what we call Pastor's Retreat for rest and rejuvenation, which of course was started by you all. And we're, of course, incredibly grateful for that love and that gift from the community for us to be able to enjoy this time. And so we will be closed on August 28th and also on September 4th. So the last Sunday in August and the first Sunday in September, which of course that takes us into the Labor Day weekend. We encourage you as well to think about what does rest and rejuvenation look for you as the summer is ending. Some of you, depending on where you are in the country or around the world, school may already have started or be starting for your kids or your students. For many of you, you're thinking about or taking your final vacations. Rest and rejuvenation is incredibly important. And as we love to say, do as we do, not as we say. And so we are happy as your pastors to model the reality of, everything can just shut down. It's all good, right? and we can all get the rest and rejuvenation that we need. And that completes our announcements for this Sunday. And so that means that it is time for the meditation experience. And Pastor Yolanda will lead us and guide us in going within.
Yes, within, that's where the answers have always been. And so we take time every Sunday to do just that. We love to teach and we love to share knowledge and we love to ask and answer questions. But we also realize that if all we have is just knowledge and books that we've read and books that we can quote, that's just information. It is through our lived, felt experience of God within ourselves that we get to understand this connection, that we get to move from this connection, that we get to be reminded by this connection. And this month, what we are being reminded of is that we are enough. It's interesting that we take time to rest and rejuvenate, but many times we are going so much because of this unconscious belief that we are not enough, that we haven't done enough or achieved enough. Whatever the enough is that comes to your mind, we get to let it go today and affirm that we are enough. Because in truth, when we were created perfect, whole, and complete. We were created as an accomplished idea in the mind of God. It thought about us in our entirety, so much so that we came forth as that representation of a God-inspired idea. And every God-inspired idea is enough. So this week, As we prepare for meditation, remember that you are enough. Let that wash over you. Let that thought flood every cell of your being. Let it activate a new sense of memory, a new understanding, and a new connection. As we prepare to go within, first, look around the room. Notice where you are. Seated upright in a chair, on your bed, on your sofa, wherever you find yourself, know that you are safe. So go ahead and plant the palms on the tops of the thighs. Align the shoulders over the hips. And just relax the breath. Close the eyes. And let's make our way home. Home to that voice that is telling us we are enough. To that love that fills every cell. To that connection that is eternal. And as we notice the breath from the inside, let's make no judgment of it. Just allow it to be as it is, for that breath, each breath is enough. Let's just notice. And from this place of connection, let's choose to take conscious control of the breath now. And send the breath into the low belly. And together, expand the low belly on the inhale. Count to 4. Inhale, expand. Hold it there. Open the mouth, relax the jaw, sigh it out. Again, into the low belly, expand, making room. Hold it there. Release any tension, relax the jaw, sigh it out. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding the front and the sides and the back of the body. Hold it there. And without collapsing, open the mouth, relax the jaw, and sigh it out. Let's find new room. Inhale, in and up, expanding the sides and the back and the front. Hold it there. And release. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now making its way to the heart center, the chakra, the healing. Hold it there. Relax and release. Beautiful. In and all the way up, connecting low belly to mid breath, all the way up to heart. Hold it there. And release the breath, sigh it out. And let's practice a few rounds of this deep breathing in and all the way up. But this time exhale through the nose, closing the lips and breathing fully. Each round of breath taking us deeper. Each round of breath freeing us more to be ourselves. Each round of breath reminding us that we are enough. And let's send that breath and relax our body completely, sending it into the feet. And maybe you've been gripping or holding this week really tight. Release the feet, sending energy up through the soles of the feet, crossing the ankles. Relax the ankles. We give breath and energy and life full permission to flow across the shins and the calves. Relax the shins and the calves. Life wants to flow through us. That energy flows across the knees. Relax the knees. And we give permission for it to flow across the thighs, the hamstrings, and the glutes. For we are enough to receive right where we are. We relax the thighs, the hamstrings, and the glutes. Surrendering the lower half of the body, we now allow energy to make its way up. Activating our subtle body, activating each chakra, balancing, aligning, remembering that we are enough. As the energy flows in and up, exhale and allow. In and up. Exhale and allow. In and up. Exhale, allow. It continues to rise up, up, up and out the crown of our head. Energy gathered above us connects us all. We give permission for that collective energy to make its way back down through the crown, across the third eye, down the throat, across the shoulders, down the arms, out the fingertips. We are a completely open channel now. Nothing blocking or hindering us. Love guiding us. Life flowing through us. Scan your body as we prepare for our silent time. Notice if you're holding on anywhere. Send love there. Send breath there. Send truth there. I am enough. If the mind wanders, it's okay. Bring it back to this loving truth that I am enough. Bring it back as often as you need. And settle in to the feeling of enoughness. I will monitor the time. You take this inward journey. Remember, you are enough, just as you are, right here and now. with our eyes still closed. We enjoy this time that we've given ourselves, a time to remember, a time to connect, a time to affirm that we are enough. We bring that energy of connection back with us now as we slowly begin to wake the body, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Stop the movement as the palms are planted on the tops of the thighs. Inhale, raise the shoulders up by the ears. Exhale, releasing the shoulders back and down. Inhale up. Exhale, shoulders draw back and down. One last time. Inhale up. Exhale, release, shoulders draw back and gently float down. Bring palms together at heart center, bowing the chin towards the fingertips, pausing to just feel the sensation of breath flowing across the fingers, filling up the lungs, animating the body. Right here and now, we are enough, and we allow that enoughness to fill our lives, guide our decisions, and make us more receptive to love and life. Slowly flutter the eyes open, taking in a point in front of you on the floor. Nice soft gaze. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze, release the breath. Namaste.
Yes, yes, yes. Namaste. Thank you, PY.
You are welcome.
It is good. Meditation is good and absolutely necessary to go within as we connect with that aspect of ourselves that is greater than the physical aspect of ourselves, so that we can bring that greatness out into the world as we live our lives. For those who are joining us for the very first time, we are in the midst of our Truth Sunday Masterclass, I've Got the Power, Studying the Power of Decision, written by Raymond Charles Barker. As you'll see in the stream, we have resource links that you can access. You'll see that it'll be showing throughout this stream. And also there's an email for questions. Where we are now is in the final chapter, chapter 8, and we're taking the time to go through the entire chapter because it has, it's a closing, right? And excuse me, and it's wonderful to, I think, just go through and hear the words of Barker as he wraps things up for us. We will finish up chapter 8 today. If we do not get to the last line of chapter 8, we won't resume it next week. What we'll be doing next week is supporting you and now making this text actionable. Right? And so we'll be supporting you with tools and exercises and some other ways for you to take what you've now read, take all that we've taught and all of this gold that we have, and now how do I apply it? How do I make it actionable? Where do I begin? Right? Because there's so many things to do and there's so many different prayers. Where do I begin? And so we're looking forward to supporting you with that next week. So let's get into the text. Again, we are in chapter 8, and we're picking up where we left off. Let me just get my screen together so I can see what's going on. Wonderful. And so where we left off, Barker is writing about this curiosity right? That's necessary for us to understand when we have experiences in our lives, we have outcomes in our lives that may be unwanted. We have to get curious and introspective and self-reflective to look at and understand without judgment, without shame, without guilt, what are the thought patterns, what are the beliefs, what are the unconscious things or the things that I've unconsciously accepted about myself or about life that are now out picturing here, so that I can bring them to the light of love and allow them to be dissolved into the sea of nothingness, right? For me to forgive myself and set myself free, which you hear us say all the time, right? So let's pick up here at this paragraph. Being the center and circumference of my experience, I accept the responsibility for all causation. Not all people are ready or willing to do this. They do not want to look in the mirror and face and handle what they see. When you can honestly accept your mind and emotions as the only causes of your experiences, you have set yourself free of all the delusions of which the human mind is capable. Now you are on solid ground. Now you are ready to find out why the you that you are is not the you that you can be.
Yeah, this is important, not as a judgment, really. It's just, I now understand the way I think and possibly why I think the way I think and how my life reflects the way I think. No judgment. Now I'm ready to do something about it. I'm ready to choose new thoughts. I'm ready to assume my true identity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The you that you can be is the spiritual you that you always have been, but not until now did you know this. This is important, right? We try to use words that get us to this, and we try to be intentional about it. One of the words I like to use is we're revealing what already is, right? And many of you may know the song, and it should be on, I think there's a version of it on our YouTube channel. It's what got me to write the song Reveal Your Greatest Life. And what I saw as I was writing that, I thought about the contents of an envelope or the contents of a gift, that the letter is already inside, the card is already inside, the gift is already inside. You open it up, and what is there was always there, right? Whatever the outer shell was does not matter. The contents were always there. And so this spiritual you that it always has been, that's the reality. So why is that important? Because then you're not trying to become something that seems unattainable, right? You're not trying to become something that in your mind or perception out here in the physical world has you thinking, I'm trying to get to this goal. I'm trying to get to this place. I'm trying to become this person. I'm, hashtag couple goals, right? We talk about it all the time. I don't know if y'all follow Magic Johnson and Cookie Johnson on Instagram, but I love watching them vacate all over the Mediterranean, right?
Every summer.
Every summer. Now I recognize I don't see them, although that inspires us as a couple and how we want to vacation around the world. But I don't see that as something out there that we can't attain, right? I recognize that they're expressing the same reality of God, prosperity, and abundance that is the reality for us. Right. But again, so often what we tend to do is we look at things like that and it's like, oh, I got to get there. I got to arrive somewhere. When actually what we always need to do is simply reveal what always was.
Absolutely.
Right. This true you is the you that needs and finds great ideas. The you that the infinite created has been waiting for your recognition of yourself as it. It is like the baby chicken in the eggshell waiting for the first crack in the shell to find its real existence. Correct self-curiosity causes the shell of your fixed human opinions to crack so that the real self can appear in your consciousness and grasp creative ideas.
I love that line, correct self-curiosity. It's what we've been talking about this whole time and what we talk about a lot. It's not judging ourselves. It's not beating ourselves up. It's correct, honest, loving curiosity. In
this newfound freedom of being the you that is the real you is the only security there really is. It is like coming out of a crowded room into the open and taking a deep breath of fresh air. Now you know that never again will you be victimized by your own wrong decisions and the negative thinking that accompany them. Your mind is open to all right ideas. You no longer have any receptivity to ideas you do not want to experience. The responsibilities of everyday living are no longer burdensome or dull, nor dull. Each hour is filled with accomplishment accompanied with pleasure. All right. Unexpected dividends. I love this section.
Me too.
Your decision, and I invite you to hear this. I'm speaking this word into your consciousness right now. So I invite you to hear it from this perspective. Your decision to be yourself pays off in rich dividends. The word impossible is deleted from your vocabulary. It no longer has meaning. In its place now is the word unexpected. You are ready for that which is yet to be, knowing that all ideas concerning it are already in your mind and will appear on time and in order. You expect the unexpected and you welcome it as it appears in your consciousness and in your world. You expect health, for you have no fear of illness. You know that there is nothing in your consciousness to cause illness. All mental and emotional conflicts have left forevermore. Take a breath. You expect your prosperity to be completely normal and continuous. You have decided that this shall be so. There is no longer anything in your consciousness to cause restriction. The flowing in of money is always balanced with the flowing out of money. You have a right to live graciously, and you do so. All your bills are paid the day you receive them. You discover that paying bills is a pleasant experience. Your inner wisdom, born of the Spirit, guides you in all your financial matters. Take a breath. You expect to be happy, for you now realize that happiness is your normal creative state of living. You are neither ashamed of being happy nor afraid of being happy. You rejoice in being alive, doing what you are doing, and feeling as you are feeling. There is nothing in your subconscious mind to make you other than happy. You have decided that this is so, and the everyday events of your life indicate that it is so. You are even glad to have problems, for you now know that each one of them is soluble through your own right thinking, right deciding, and the correct use of your imagination. You are happy. Take a breath. You decide to give and receive love. You know you can do this and make intelligent plans to do it. You are no longer fighting the human race. You have taken your place in it as a loving, kind, and generous person. You attract to yourself people and situations which are the right ones for you. Your well-balanced emotions plus your new creative drives and interests draw to you like-minded individuals with whom you have ease of communication. There is an interchange of ideas, attitudes, and interest. Love in you finds love in them. Love in them finds love in you. The infinite is loving by means of you, and you give it full freedom of action. No more loneliness, no more apartness. You like the feeling of being one with many people. You enrich and are enriched by your associations. You catch a glimpse of the Spirit in all whom you contact. Take a breath. You have severed all connections with frustration. The dynamics of the creative ideas in your mind are now having full self-expression. This penetrates every area of your living. You are a dynamic person. People think of you as a dynamic person. You do what you want to do. You rejoice in the free flow of creative thinking, which keeps your mind centered on your decided goals. You watch new ideas happen in your mind and new events take place in your experiences. You are outgoing, fulfilled, and free to express yourself. Take a breath. You have faith in life. You sense yourself to be the instrument of a mighty mind. You are convinced of the many values of living in the here and the now. Your good is not postponed or delayed. Your mind senses the spiritual activities within it and cooperates fully with them. You trust the great creative law of the subconscious mind. Your authorizations in it are left free to produce themselves. You are free of all deep concern and serious worry. You know that only the good is on your pathway and that its revelations to you will always be the right ones at the right time, appearing in order. You are affirmative in your attitudes. You like yourself as you are, creative and victorious. Let's take a breath. You have a larger understanding of God. Not my God, nor a God of creeds, but the God your own thinking has discovered within you. It is a God personal to you, for you personalize it. You trust the infinite mind as it functions in your mind. You know that its constant flow of new ideas is your guarantee of right living, for you now are receptive to them. You find many people who think of God as you think of God. You are no longer rejecting anything spiritual. You are open and receptive to spiritual ideas. You know that your life is the life of God. You know you are the living representative of all that the infinite is. You are worthy of your high calling as a spiritual creation. And to that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
And so it is. Such a beautiful, affirmative statement of how life is supposed to be for you now that you've decided it is so.
Mm-hmm. 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 And so Barker is doing something very powerful here as he writes this section, because really this is a spiritual mind treatment, this entire section. And for those that are learning and understanding what affirmative prayer is, there's something beautiful about how he's writing. He speaks matter-of-factly, he speaks in the present, and he speaks and writes as though it is and is happening now.
Right. Right. There's no will be in here. It's this is you now.
Right. Right. Not we pray that the word impossible is deleted from your
Right.
from your
It is
vocabulary.
done.
The word impossible is deleted from your vocabulary. It's gone. It's done. It's over. And it is now placed with, this is principle, right? We remove something. Nature abhors a vacuum. Either you can let randomness put something in that vacuum, that space, or you can put something in, right? So in its place is the word unexpected. You expect the unexpected and you welcome it as it appears in your consciousness and in your world. And so then from that vantage point now, you expect health. You expect prosperity. You expect to thrive. You expect to be victorious.
You expect love.
Right. Right. Go ahead.
It is a powerful treatment, and I made a note here that if you just took the word your and you out and replaced it with I and recorded yourself saying this to yourself and went to sleep with it every night for 30 days, just feeling your mind, your subconscious mind, letting it absorb this as the truth of your being now.
This is your first actionable piece, right?
This is it right
Right,
here. This is the first actionable. You're like, well, how do I use all this information? We just gave you the first one.
And for me, for the month of August, I started August 1st. This is exactly what I did. I took this section, I recorded myself, and I'm speaking to myself, Greg, your decision to be yourself pays off in rich dividends. And then I'm taking myself through each piece. And every day this month, I'm listening to this, myself speak this word to myself, and I'm reading it as well in real time, right? This is absolutely actionable. Right.
Absolutely. And I do it at the end of the day because I like the feeling of drifting off with it in my ears at night. My voice saying, I have decided, right? Right? My decisions pay rich dividends.
And it's important that if you're going to be intentional and disciplined about this, you must do this for 21 to 30 days. If you miss a day, that's day one.
Yep.
When you start over, it's day one. It's incredibly important. Again, if you want to use this and if you want to tap into the power of this and be intentional and be disciplined and develop a habit around this knowing, again, we gave you an actionable tool, but if you sort of kind of try, you sort of kind of get results.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it's important. It's okay for any number of reasons. You may forget, you're developing a new habit. That's fine. But the day you resume, that's day one.
Right. And so there's no judgment about the fact that you have to resume and it's a new day. It's just a new opportunity to practice, to begin to cultivate this new habit, right? You just start from day one. You start where you are. You choose again.
And again, going back to understanding how spiritual mind treatment works, this section, you expect your prosperity to be completely normal and continuous. You have decided that it shall be so. There is no longer anything in your consciousness to cause restriction. You no longer have to pray, I remove all the things that are blocking me from prosperity.
Right.
You just declare that it's gone.
Right.
There is nothing in my consciousness to cause restriction. That's affirmative prayer. Right? And then you declare the flowing in and out of money. It is, right? It is always balanced. I have a right to live graciously, and I do so. Right?
Right. It didn't say I got to take somebody else's right to live graciously. It says I have a right, and I do it. It didn't say I have a right and then I ask permission. I have a right and then I do. For me. Right?
Again, yeah, you expect to be happy. And again, we affirm. He writes, there is nothing in your subconscious mind to make you other than happy. Again, we don't have to talk about removing, right? Because then we're actually putting our attention on the thing that we don't want and amplifying that. It's just there's nothing here. It's gone.
Right. And you realize for how many weeks now have we been studying this book that we've been removing things. We've become aware of things. We've been making decisions, removing things. And now we're just planting things in there. Right?
And it may seem strange if you're not happy to declare, I am happy right now. But there's a principle that's important, right? So often we hear people admonishing the power of I am affirmations, and there is power in I am affirmations, but that's only the first half of it, right? If it's a formula, right, you have to have two numbers that you add or multiply together to get to the answer, right? And so I am is just the first part of it, but the I have is the second. I am is the masculine aspect, I have is the feminine aspect, right? And we recognize that those two aspects are required to create life, right? As we see in the human form. And so the I have, as you start to declare you are happy, you're declaring that you already have happiness, because that's what's here in the, right? That happiness is already in my mind, right? And the thoughts that generate happiness and align with happiness, I already have them. And then, of course, as a prosperity principle, when you can name what you already have, she or he or they who already have, more will be given to them. That's the principle. That's why you have to be able to name what you have. So while it may seem strange if you're not, and happy is not about jumping up and down in glee, overly excited. I think that's the other thing sometimes we think in order to be happy, it's like, I don't know, adrenaline rush, screaming and hollering. Like, happy is a normal state of being, right? So that's an all as well, even in the midst of challenges and maybe problems, right? I still have access to and a sense of all as well because I know what I have. And that's what this is supporting you and starting to lean into and live from and think from. So you can actually declare that you are happy now.
Right. And it's not a untruth to declare it. We're not saying that you ignore if there are things going on that would cause you to feel distress or whatever that emotion is. We're not saying that. We're saying that I'm choosing for this to be my reality. I am loving myself enough to know that it's possible. And I am in expectation of its arrival.
He writes here about being glad to have problems for you. Now know that they are soluble. That's a very specific word versus solvable. Them being soluble means they dissolve.
Right. So he's acknowledging that things might be happening that would, for most people, make you feel a certain way. But it's not the end.
And we go on, right? You decided to give and receive love, which is very interesting, right? For those of you that want a relationship or thinking about a relationship, this is the context that you really need to think about being in a relationship from. If it's I want a partner, you don't want to be in a relationship, right? You've missed it, right? The decision is I've decided to give and receive love. Mm-hmm. That's what a relationship and a partnership is, right? It's I've decided to give and also receive. But most of us, when we're thinking about wanting to be in a relationship, we're thinking about what we want to receive. And that's even why we want to be in a relationship, because we think we don't have something, right? Something's missing.
Right.
I want to receive, so I want to be in a relationship.
And you notice that give is first. That means I already have it. Mm-hmm. I already have love. Mm-hmm. And so I'm giving what I already have. Mm-hmm. And then in return, I receive it. Mm-hmm. It's that cycle.
Yep.
Right? He didn't say I receive and then give love. Mm-hmm. He said I give. That means I have it. I am it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's this beautiful, beautiful affirmation here that, if I were in some of your shoes, I would be affirming this before I go on a date or even before I open up an app to swipe. Love in you finds love. Love in me finds love in you. Love in you finds love in me. Right? So then you're operating from this place of love meaning love, right? That's all you're ever looking for. Even if it doesn't turn into a marriage or some long-term relationship, right? You can actually have good experiences and move on, right? And move forward to the next person, right? Love in me finds love in you. Love in you finds love in me.
I like that move forward idea as opposed to move on, because most people, that idea of moving on means something was wrong and broken and I got to leave it behind. But if love is ever extending, you're moving forward in love, attracting the next level of love, experience of love, relationship with love. Understanding of loving ourselves. All of that is a forward movement.
And the rest of this section, right? No more loneliness, no more apartness. You like the feeling of being one with many people. You enrich and are enriched by your associations. Again, it's the giving and receiving. My presence enriches, right? And I am enriched. I catch a glimpse of the Spirit in all whom I contact.
And that's important too, because sometimes we're holding off on realizing that we're receiving love because it's not showing up in romantic love. We're always in relationship. We're in relationship with the person who holds the door open for us. We're in a relationship with the person who makes our coffee. We're in relationship with the person that delivers our mail. We're constantly in relationship because we cannot be. There is no more loneliness when you realize you're always in relationship. You're always connected to love. Right? And so then we become more expectant that it's always available as opposed to trying to grasp onto something. I'm always in relationship with myself and therefore with love.
We go on. You have severed all connections with frustration, right? And what we're talking about here, this idea of frustration, because you hear the second sentence when he writes, the dynamics of the creative ideas in your mind are now having full self-expression. So what we're talking about here when we talk about frustration is this idea of not having options, this idea of not having any new ideas, this way of living of your back is against the wall. Right? So all I can do is kick and scream and yell, or I can't do anything. My back is against the wall. I have no options. I have no choices. You've severed all connections with that way of being and that way of living, because dynamic creative ideas are always in your mind and you're giving them full self-expression.
Right. And we've severed all connection with frustration, and frustration arises when we think there's no option. Right? We have one option. We've exhausted it. But to sever all ties to frustration means I'm open to possibility.
There you go. And so this is also about living off of the sidelines, right? Because allowing that full self-expression, that means that those ideas that are coming to you, you're no longer questioning them, and you're stepping out in life and beginning to be and to do. And with each expression, no matter how small the step is, you then open the space for wider, greater, and seemingly more powerful expressions. They're not more powerful, they're just what you're doing from that vantage point.
Right, you're just available to more of it, and therefore it feels more powerful.
Exactly. You have faith in life. You sense yourself to be the instrument of a mighty mind, right? Which is so powerful. You trust the great creative law of the subconscious mind. So this is another piece of all that we've been studying, that there must be an acceptance of these laws, that they work for you, that they work for you easily and effortlessly, no respecter of persons, right? And now you know that only the good is on your pathway, and its revelations to you will always be the right ones at the right time, appearing in order. And so you live affirmative. You are affirmative in your attitudes, right? Not that you don't get down, not that you don't get sad, right? Not that you don't get frustrated, all of it, but this too shall pass, right?
You know what I find myself when I'm in that those kinds of emotions, I begin to realize that, okay, I'm in this place of frustration. That means I don't think right now there's a way out. So let me turn my focus in the direction of there has to be a way out. This is an indicator that I've forgotten something. I've forgotten that there are multiple ways for this problem to be resolved. I've forgotten that there are multiple people to help me resolve it. I've forgotten that there are multiple resources at my disposal. Okay, let me turn in direction of answer.
Yeah.
And as soon as I do that, that frustration, that whatever that emotion is, starts to dissipate.
Yep.
And I come back to center. Or as I like to say, the spiritual bounce back happens.
You have a larger understanding of God. You have a new God concept, which is required, right? We've talked about this. So you got to destroy your old God concept. And it's not what somebody said. It's not your mama's God, your grandmama's God, your former pastor's God, and your current pastor's God, right? And it's not about creeds and codes and spiritual texts, right, and verses and chapters, right? It's not that, but it's the God of your own thinking or understanding that you have discovered within you. This is why oneness is so important, and this is why meditation is so important. As PY always reminds us, it's beyond the reading, it's beyond the knowledge, it's beyond that. It is a God personal to you, for you personalize it. This is incredibly profound, because what we hear even in traditional Christian theology is this idea of Jesus being a personal friend, right? Or God being personal to us. There's a wonderful song, I am a friend of God, Israel Houghton, right? But it's not talking about what this sentence is saying. See, and I think it's a beautiful step in the understanding of making God your friend, right? Like, he walks with me and he talks with me, and that kind of thing, right. And so we're walking through the garden, right, with God, right? That is a profound understanding and is a step in the direction towards where we are, right? But it still anthropomorphizes God as something outside of us, walking alongside of us, right? But God may stop walking with me because he need to check in on Yolandis, and then what's going on?
What's up?
Right?
I'm just left hanging, right?
So it is a God personal to you. God is personal to us. Why? Because we personalize it. And this is where the profound understanding in New Thought is incredible and necessary. It's wonderful that we recognize that God is operating in, through, and as us. So that's why wherever I am, God is, and all is well, right? Wherever I am, because I personalize the power and the presence. There is one power, one presence. It is operating in and through all. There is one life, and that life is your life now. There is one life, and that life is your life now. There is one life, and that life is my life now. God is omnipresent, everywhere at all times, and constantly encountered. God is operating in, through, and as you, and in, through, and as me at the very same time. We personalize God.
As well we should. We have to make it real for ourselves.
Yeah. And so we thank God in us, God through us, God as us. Famously, Reverend Ike always ended his prayers with, "Thank you, God, in me." And so it is. That's how he ended his prayer, right? He understood that reality. You can't just say, thank you, God, because it feels and sounds like you're thanking something that isn't personal to you, that hasn't been personalized by you, right? And for me personally, that's why I expand it. Thank you, God, in me, through me, and as me. We personalize it. And so out of that personalizing, and we start to make use of it, that's where the trust comes. You trust the infinite mind as it functions in your mind. And on and on and on and on. You are worthy of your high calling as a spiritual creation. So we've already given you something that's incredibly actionable. It's something that literally we're using and doing, right? We know it works. Again, that reminder, because this is so important as you're using any tool in this way, or a reading or a prayer in this way, if you're going to use it daily, 21 days, 30 days, just start there, right?
Start there.
Start there.
If it still feels good after 30 days, consecutive days, keep using it.
But it's important that those days are consecutive. Give yourself grace. It's okay if you forget. It's okay if you miss a day. But when you pick it up, you're at day one. Your goal is to do a consistent practice, right? That's how you get this into your subconscious mind, right? Napoleon Hill famously writes, and Think and Grow Rich, the only known way to, and I'm paraphrasing, but to make these kinds of changes is through repetitive use of affirmations impressed upon the subconscious mind. And so that's why it has to be every day, consistently, right? In a disciplined fashion.
Right, and impressed upon the subconscious mind doesn't have to be some hard, arduous task, right? This is very easy to do once you get in the habit. You're not beating the subconscious mind into submission. You're lovingly impressing it in either the morning when you wake up or as you go to sleep at night. Now, don't try to overdo, because I know we can, and do it both times of the day, all right? Pick one.
Pick one. Pick one.
Pick the morning or the evening.
Absolutely.
Pick one.
Absolutely.
And just do that consecutively for 30 days. Check in with yourself. See how the 30 days went. Then try it another 30 days and another and another and another, right? We keep praying this truth until it shows up in our lives, until we demonstrate it for ourselves. Don't give up after 30 days. Begin to notice, observe how small things, quote unquote, begin to shift and change. Celebrate those things and keep saying it and saying it and saying it.
Because can you imagine the life that is created as a result of this knowing?
Right.
And again, from any vantage point, right? So, okay, you've achieved whatever, you're a millionaire, or I don't know, you weren't a millionaire, now you are as a result of using this prayer. Well, now there's new plateaus, right? There's new ways of being, and so what does that larger understanding of God mean now? What does giving and receiving love mean from that vantage point with those resources? Right.
So it's ever expanding. Right? You might have 2 or 3 of these areas on lock, right? You might have them already showing up in your life consistently. That's the other thing, not just once in a while. And so you just keep applying it until you look around one day and this is your reality.
We move on.
You see how we took all nice time with that? Because sometimes it's the small things that we just need to stop and embody them.
Yeah.
This is an embodied practice.
Yeah. Trust in life. There is no reason for not feeling comfortable in this great cosmos. People with self-conditioned linked minds may fear the unknown, but there is no reason for you to do this. You know that anything and everything that you need to know, you will know when you need to know it. Again, this goes back to that earlier in the chapter a few weeks ago, we were talking about this idea of being preoccupied with unanswerable questions, right? When you know that everything that you need to know, you will know when you need to know it. So if you don't know it right now, what if I don't need to know that information right now? Right? I think that's incredibly freeing. And so anytime you find yourself in that place of creating mental roadblocks that are stopping you and taking the first step or the next logical step or following that inspired idea, right? Everything that I need to know, I will know when I need to know it. If I don't know it right now, I don't need to know it. And you move forward. Mm-hmm. You do not need to know the future or fear the future, for you are creating your future with your present attitude.
Right, with your present treatment we just did. You're creating it.
Mm-hmm. A trust in the general business of life is essential to well-being. I'm reminded of a quote that's attributed to Einstein, right? That we have to make a decision and decide if we live in a friendly universe or not. Because based on that decision will then inform how we interact with life, how we interact with each other, how we interact with strangers. So a trust in the general business of life is essential to what? Well-being. Mm-hmm. And even as we get into trust, and there's so much here to talk about. So this is even when we think about trusting humans. I'm not trusting humans. I'm trusting the God that is actually flowing in through and as them, mm-hmm. right? This life, there is one life, and that life is my life now, is your life now. That's where I put my trust. I understand these laws of mind. I understand what's really going on, and that's why I trust.
Yes. I trust in it, mm-hmm. and then I know I'm supported by it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's where your gratitudes are showing you how you are supported by life. Yep. In every area of your life. Mm-hmm. I trust in life, so my well-being is balanced. Mm-hmm. I'm supported by life, and I see it show up as everything that I report in my gratitudes.
Mm-hmm. It comes from seeing yourself correctly. You are not a biological accident.
This is so important, everybody. I'm not an accident. No matter how I got here, it was not an accident. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This infinite intelligent mind that we talked about from day one in this book is the mind that created this expression that is here now. It could not be an accident. It could not be a mistake. It could not be, when we say an accident, like, I'm surprised that it's here.
Right.
Oh, what do I do to take care of it? No. You're not an accident. Right. That means you were planned for. Right. Oh, it brings every one of us. Yeah. Where there was a way prepared, a plan laid, resources available.
You are not the circumstances of your birth.
Nope.
You are not a biological accident.
Nope.
You are a programmed individual, individualizing the magnificence of life. There's a powerful affirmation. I am individualizing the magnificence of life. Like, that's what we're here to be and to do, to be an expression of the magnificence of life. We say, we celebrate each and every Sunday the magnificence and significance of God in through, and as you. You're individualizing that magnificence. The sun individualizes that magnificence, right? The stars that we can see individualize that magnificence. The beautiful sky individualizes that magnificence. Beautiful birds individualize that magnificence. All of nature individualizes that magnificence. And you too are here to individualize the magnificence of life.
With every breath.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean you got to go out and conquer mountains. It means that when you woke up in the morning, when you woke up this Sunday morning, you were the magnificence of life.
You can look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, magnificence.
It's so good to see you this morning.
Yes.
So good to be you this morning. It's so good to feel it moving through you this morning.
Any feeling of your inferiority or insignificance is ridiculous. And what I'm hearing now, because we've been affirming this throughout this class, because there are so many of us, pick whatever category it may be. I speak to Black and brown people right now. I speak to women right now. I speak to our LGBT family. I speak to our Asian family, right? Any feeling of inferiority or insignificance is ridiculous. You are here you are an individualized expression of the magnificence of life. I don't care what somebody else said. I don't care about how somebody else treated you. I don't care what's even on the law books that needs to be changed. The law books do not define who and what you are. A government does not define or declare the truth of who and what you are. Any feeling of inferiority or insignificance is ridiculous. We are magnificent. You are magnificent, each and every one of you.
You are not an accident.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting, and it's because, you know, for many of you who have not had the privilege of experiencing our services when we are gathered together, we end our service with the song that says, now all things are possible, now everything is possible, because I know who I am and I know whose I am. And how do we end it, y'all? Magnificence I am. Mm-hmm. Magnificence I am. Magnificence I am. Magnificence I am. Those are the last words we speak, sing, and affirm at the closing of every service at CSC. This is it right here.
And this is not just something that a child needs to know.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that our inner child needs to know, mm-hmm. to remember. Mm-hmm. This is something that we as adults have forgotten. Mm-hmm. We need to be reminded. Mm-hmm. In song, mm-hmm. in word, in action, mm-hmm. we need to be reminded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You are important to life. That which created you and brought you this far will take care of you for the rest of eternity. You are a citizen of the universe, and no claim that you can make is too much for the power which is within you to accomplish. The power that's in such this small sentence. Mm-hmm. You're not just a citizen of the planet Earth. You're a citizen of the entire universe. We've talked about those images that were revealed through the Webb telescope, and we have the images that were revealed before them through the Hubble telescope, and we can look at life and marvel and look at the universe and look at the galaxies and all of that. You're not just a citizen of Earth, and that's important, right? I'm thinking of a Sesame Street song, We Are All Earthlings. Like that consciousness is important to mm-hmm. understand that we're Earthlings. The squirrels are Earthlings, and we are Earthlings, and the bees are Earthlings, right? That's important, right? Go look that up on YouTube. Find the Jill Scott version of her singing We Are All Earthlings. It's awesome. So that's important, but we have to expand our awareness even beyond that, because that's still finite. Mm-hmm. You are a citizen of the universe, and because of that, no claim, no demand, no choice that you can make is too much for the power, for this thing that we call God, which is within you, to accomplish. Nothing.
And at this time, when he said universe, we can put an S on that, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. You're like, it's ever-expanding universes. Mm-hmm. 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 If it can accomplish all that, there's nothing it cannot accomplish through you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why? Because it knows no limitations, not even the ones you have placed within your own thinking. God itself doesn't know those. Right. We may place them, but it doesn't acknowledge them at all. Give this power great works to do by maintaining great ideas in your consciousness. The creative process of your subconscious mind is inexhaustible. It knows neither worry nor fatigue. It is perfect in its precision. Give it great goals to accomplish. Use it for greatness. When you trust the creative power of the universe, you know what real relaxation is. You do not have to solve the problems of the world unless you are the head of a government. You do not have to solve other people's troubles unless you are a professional counselor. You do have to solve your own problems, and this you do without fuss and anxiety. You make the right decisions and let the subconscious mind do the work. Your attitude is, I am resolved what to do, Luke 16:4. Therefore, tensions regarding decisions cannot arise in your mind, emotions, and body. This is beautiful. I think we understand many of these things logically, but then we have to apply them in the moment. Right? So many of us.
That's the key.
Right.
That's the key to living these teachings. Mm-hmm. We can study them on Sunday or read it throughout the week, but when something arises, can we apply it in the moment? Mm-hmm. 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 And if we've forgotten, can we, the moment we remember, apply it in the moment? Mm-hmm. Because that's the only moment that it matters, is if you can apply it right then and there.
I'm not here to solve the world's problems, right? It's important. If you find yourself trying to figure out something for the whole world, you're not here to solve your family's problems or your friends' problems. Again, oftentimes we put that burden on our shoulders as though we can actually choose and decide for them when we can't. To trust in life reduces the pressures of everyday living. It makes you feel that the whole world is supporting you at all times. This is exactly what the world is doing. For many of you, you've read The Alchemist, Santiago. What is the word that he was given, right? That the whole universe conspires, right? It develops a plan, right? That's what creating a conspiracy. There's a whole plan that is put together, right? Supporting you all the time. This is exactly what the world is doing. Something great, wonderful, and true is backing up each of us. Knowing this, there is almost nothing to fear, not even death. You are a continuum. Your consciousness does not stop when your heart stops beating. Profound truth. Profound truth. You are an individual in infinity and eternity. You go right.
You are an individual in infinity and eternity. I think that covers it all, y'all. That covers it all. There's no gap in this connection. There's no gap in support. There's no gap in consciousness. There's no gap in greatness. There's no gap in answers. There's no gap in solutions. There's no gap in abundance.
You go right on living in a different environment. A fear of death is understandable in an ignorant mind, but not in yours.
Ignorant meaning unintelligent, uninformed,
unaware.
unaware.
Yeah, right. You are life that goes right on living, evolving, and being. Bodies die, not people. You are not your body. You are an individual using a body. You're a spiritual being having a human experience, right? You have had many bodies during your lifetime. This is beautiful. I love this because this helps us bring it into reality outside of this kind of wider spiritual context that sometimes is harder to grasp. You have had many bodies during your current lifetime. You started with a newborn baby's body, about 6 to 8 pounds in weight. 6 years later, you had a different body. At 14, you had another type of body. At 30, you had another. Your present body is temporary, as were the ones you have used all through your years of living. You, as consciousness, moved through these bodies. You, as consciousness, will continue to flow through bodies, not visible to your family and friends, but very visible to you. When you state that a dear friend just died, you are talking of his or her body only. Consciousness cannot die.
Yeah, this is so beautiful and powerful. Just this idea, right? I've had many bodies. So the bodies are temporary. Even for one lifetime, the bodies are temporary.
Because one thing is true, as you live long enough, you have a sense of always being yourself. You think back to being 5, and I'm like, I'm still me. Right? I'm 46, but the 5-year-old Greg, I'm still me. The 12-year-old Greg, I'm still me. I have a different body, but I'm still me. Well, what does that mean? And that's my consciousness.
And that means that as we, quote unquote, age in our bodies, that's why we can still be vibrant and alive, no matter what the age the body is. I'm still me. I'm still vibrant. I'm still alive.
Right. But we've been taught to over-identify with our body.
Or a certain age of a body.
Right. And so then when that thing starts to have whatever experiences we may have, then we think that our consciousness is also aging, and it's not. Right. I cannot believe that an intelligence that created me out of itself and gave me the tools to use for creative living where I am has no further use for me or plans for me. Most of us are not really valuable to life until we are past 50. I guess that was the perspective in 1968. Many people are at their most creative peak when their bodies cease functioning. No, you and I have a great deal of vital living to do in the millions of years ahead of us. There is no heaven and there is no hell, but there are creative areas in this ever-expanding universe where we keep on being ourselves. God will still be in business 1,000 years from now, and we are God's business. Summing it up, I have written about 50,000 words on this science of decision. You have read them, or we have studied them. No book can ever be a final authority. The final authority is only in the individual mind and its opinions, which lead to decisions. You are an active intelligence functioning in a universe of intelligence that always responds to you as you present yourself to it. You are more than a human mind managing to get through 70 or 90 human years. You are more than family, job, home, and recreation. You are a creator creating creation. You are an infinite possibility. You will never know the full greatness that you are. How does Abraham put it?
You never get it done.
Right, you'll never get it done. Right, that's just the nature of our existence. Right, you will never know the full greatness that you are,
and that's okay. Because if you knew the full greatness, then you'd be done.
As you think of yourself in larger terms, you invite larger ideas into your consciousness. Your decisions regarding these ideas are the way life becomes to you. Individuality means independence. Independence means the necessity for assuming self-authority. You were not born to be like other people. You are a unique representation of an infinite source. You are always free to fail or succeed. Nothing is predestined. To change long-standing negative habit patterns in the subconscious mind is not easy, but it can be done, and you can do it. The valley of indecision and the mountaintops of decision are both available to you. By taking authority over your own mind and emotions, you can have great mountaintop experiences. You leave behind you the valley with its shadows. You leave behind you half living. You have assumed the responsibility of being the light of your own world. You know that you can achieve what you want to achieve. You know that all life responds to you as an infinite givingness and fills full the cup you give it. The size of the cup you determine. Hear that?
Is it a thimble? Is it a cup? Is it a mug?
Right.
Or are you connecting a hose to the ocean of life?
Life will fill it. The subconscious mind is a divine instrument. Its dexterity and precision will never be fully known. It is the greatest gift that you have. It is beyond price. It is what you are as a creative individual. It accepts the impress of your thought and acts upon it. It knows neither good nor evil, yet its processes can create both. Wise men, wise people have said that all creation is the result of the law and the word. The subconscious is the law. What you place in it is the word. This is the play of life upon itself. A correct definition of a spiritually acclimated individual is one whose conscious mind, operating in a field of subconscious creative intelligence, gives it creative decisions, which it then produces as experience.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell, how it works.
Notice there was nothing in that definition about morality, right? Or live in a certain way, or dress in a certain way, or sing in a certain way.
Or look in a certain way, right? None of that. Or pray in those ways.
For such a person, there is a full life. They are not only fulfilled themselves, they are also able to give greatly to others. This is another sign, right, that you can know, right? The person that's truly spiritually acclimated, right? They are not only fulfilled themselves, they are also able to give greatly to others. Of them can be said, he or she hath done all things well, Mark 7:37. You are invited to join their ranks and have all the benefits that accompany right decisions. What mind can conceive, we can achieve. And I'm reminded again of Think and Grow Rich, because I think what's more specific, oftentimes we hear this quoted, right? What mind can conceive, we can achieve, or a person can achieve. But Napoleon Hill adds another piece. What mind can conceive and believe, we
That's the
can
key.
achieve, right? Because a lot of us have been conceiving things
For a long time.
right. But what we actually know is that in our subconscious mind, there's a belief that's a total opposite, right? Or there's a belief that it can't happen for you, or there's a belief that it only happens for special people, or there's a belief that it requires luck, or
That it takes a certain amount of years.
right,
Or,
right. Conceive, believe, achieve, right?
yeah, all of those elements, you're absolutely right, are key. Right? Conceive, believe, and achieve.
Absolutely.
That's the equation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that leaves us and takes us to the end of this chapter. We have moved through this very powerful text. I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know that each and every one of us have been changed and transformed as a result of committing to this reading, as a result of committing to each Sunday, gathering together and receiving what we are receiving and the insight that has come to and comes through us. And now there's the opportunity to make it actionable. So we've already given you one powerful, actionable step. I highly encourage you to consider it. And again, if you are going to take that unexpected dividend section, that what I believe is a spiritual mind treatment, again, you want to commit to that 21 to 30 days. If you miss a day, if you skip a day, then that new day you start over it. That's day one, because you want to develop a habit around this. You want to develop discipline around this knowing. Okay. We're going to share some other things and support you in some other ways. I think there's an assessment that we need to do, because if you remember in the early chapters, a lot of what's being talked about is first just kind of lifting up the things that we don't believe to be true, right? Or lifting up ways in which we need to think about God differently. We need to think about life differently. We need to think about ourselves differently. And so we got to honestly assess that, because then that'll support us in maybe using some of those earlier spiritual mind treatments that were really necessary to get our minds right and get our minds prepared. It's like tilling the soil, so that then that unexpected dividends is not just prayer is not growing amongst the weeds of our unwanted thoughts and beliefs, right?
And we know that transformation or that change or restoration has happened, because as we read this now, I know you feel it. I know you feel it deeply. I know it feels like it's tangible, doable, that it is my life now.
Yeah.
We had to move through that. We had to excavate. We had to assess. We had to release some thoughts. We had to use some treatments to implant and accept new thoughts. And now we're here. We're here.
Beautiful, beautiful. So again, we look forward to that next week. We'll have some actionable pieces, some exercises, and of course, we also have the God Talk next week. So that's another opportunity to ask questions and really support you in applying what we have studied and what we are continuing to learn and embody. So before we close, of course, we know that now is the time for giving, if you have not already given, or if you don't have automatic giving set up. And what we say here at CSC, I think, is healing. I think is freeing. Simply that you give what feels good. And why is that important? Because giving what feels good, accessing and determining whatever your joy number is for right now, for whatever reason, is how you will experience the full blessing of giving. But most important is that giving what feels good means that you have freed yourself from giving from shame.
Yes.
You have freed yourself from giving from a place of guilt. You have freed yourself from giving out of obligation. You have freed yourself from giving out of fear of what someone may or may not say. You have freed yourself from somebody, although we're not together in person, of what somebody's looking at. Did you put an envelope in the basket or not? Did you put money in the basket or not? You freed yourself of all of that stuff, right? Oh, I'm not working right now, so I can't give what I would give. All I can give is $10, right? Give what feels good. Okay, you're not working right now, and you have something. You've actually identified that I have, which is powerful. I have $5. I have $10, and enjoy, I give this.
Right.
Right? Free of all fear, doubt, worry, guilt, shame, feeling less than. We let go of all of that when we give what feels good. That's where the power in giving is, because
Yes.
then that's the seed that you're planting in consciousness.
Right. We're not robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Nope.
Right? We are giving what feels good to us to give.
Exactly.
We give it and we move on knowing that we're going to receive.
And so from that vantage point, when we give what feels good, then we can affirm this powerful affirmation. All the money that I use
All the money that I use
returns to me multiplied
returns to me multiplied
in a never-ending cycle
in a never-ending cycle
of increase
increase
and enjoyment.
and enjoyment.
To that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it must be. And so we are grateful for each and every one of you. We're grateful for your commitment to CSC, your love of CSC, your continued support of the ministry. But more importantly, we're grateful for your commitment to yourself and your commitment as we have moved through this powerful teaching through the summer. And that has supported us week in and week out, supported us. I'm interested to really hear the ways in which things have just opened up for many of you, even now, as a result of committing to being decisive in your life, committing to believing that you are intelligence, because intelligence is operating in, through, and as you. And because intelligence is operating in, through, and as you, you have access to great ideas. You have access to prospering ideas. You have access to thriving ideas. You have access to creative ideas. You have access to ideas that bring about abundance. And those ideas, those God ideas that bring about abundance, by nature of who and what God is, they cannot just make you abundant.
Yes.
It's impossible. Just like an apple tree doesn't just feed one person, because no one person can eat all the apples that it manifests, that it demonstrates. And so we are excited to continue to see how and see the ways in which the power of God, this thing that we call God, operates and expresses and is individualized magnificently in, through, and as you. Have an amazing week. Have a great Sunday. We will see and connect with many of you on Wednesday for the Momentum Prayer Call. And for those that we do not connect with on Wednesday, we will connect again with you here on the live stream at 11 a.m. next Sunday as we continue and finish this masterclass. I've got the power. Have a good day. On purpose.
On purpose.
With the purpose.
With the purpose.
Yes, yes. All right. Love y'all. Bye for now.
Bye for now.